At 60, I thought I knew what to expect from my body: stiff joints, afternoon slumps, and creeping weight gain. It was almost as if there was an unspoken rule. Once you hit this age, you just accept that your best days are behind you. Every ache, every groan, every sigh of fatigue was brushed off as just getting older. I'd hear it from friends, from doctors, even from my own family. That's normal for 60. But deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. Was this really all there was to look forward to? Everyone said it was just aging, but deep down, I knew this couldn't be all there was. I'd see people my age laughing and carrying on, but when I looked in the mirror, I saw someone who felt older than their years. I felt like I was living in someone else's body, a body that was slowing down, even as my mind screamed for more. The fog in my mind, the forgetfulness, the exhaustion, it felt like life was slipping into grayscale. I'd lose my train of thought mid-sentence or walk into a room and forget why I was there. The world seemed duller, quieter, as if someone had turned down the volume on my life. I missed the days when I woke up with energy, when I could tackle a project or play with my grandkids without needing to rest. I started turning down walks with my grandkids, avoiding gatherings, and watching life from the sidelines. I'd sit by the window and watch them play, feeling like a spectator in my own story. The laughter and joy felt just out of reach, and I wondered if I'd ever feel truly present again. The fear of losing my independence grew. Every new prescription, every doctor's appointment, every reminder to take it easy, felt like another step away from the life I wanted. I worried about becoming a burden, about losing the freedom to make my own choices. Was this really it? Pills, doctor visits, and a slow fade into old age? I'd always imagined my later years would be filled with adventure, laughter, and new experiences, not just managing symptoms and counting the days between appointments. The thought of settling for less than I deserved haunted me. The turning point came one Tuesday, struggling to tie my shoes, out of breath and frustrated. It was such a simple task, something I'd done 1,000 times before, but suddenly it felt impossible. My hands shook, my chest tightened, and I felt tears sting my eyes. In that moment, I realized how much I'd lost, and how much I still wanted to fight for. Tears welled up. I refused to accept this as my fate. I let myself feel the sadness, the anger, the disappointment. But beneath it all, a spark of determination began to grow. I knew I couldn't keep living like this. I decided that normal for 60 wasn't going to be my story. I wanted more than just getting by. I wanted to thrive, to feel alive, to reclaim the energy and joy I thought I'd lost forever. I didn't know how, but I had to try. I had to believe that change was possible, even if it meant starting small. I owed it to myself, and to the people who loved me, to fight for a better future. My life depended on it. I wanted to be there for my family, to make new memories, to show my grandkids that age is just a number, not a sentence. That moment of frustration became my wake-up call. It was the push I needed to stop settling, to start searching for answers, and to believe that I could change my story. I was done settling for less. I made a promise to myself that day. I would do whatever it took to feel alive again, to rediscover the vibrant life I knew was still possible. It was time to fight for the vibrant life I deserved. I wasn't ready to fade away. I was ready to begin again, stronger and more determined than ever. With new resolve, I went to my doctor hoping for answers. I listed my symptoms: fatigue, brain fog, stubborn weight, constant bloating. He listened, checked my blood pressure, and said, "For 60, you're in pretty good shape." Then came the words that stung. "It's all a normal part of aging." Medication was his only suggestion. No questions about my diet, stress, or sleep, just a pat on the back and a prescription. I left feeling deflated. Was this really all medicine had to offer? That night his words echoed, "Normal part of aging." I refused to accept that. I realized I'd have to become my own health advocate. My dreams of hiking, dancing, and living fully weren't over. I was determined to find my own answers. The fire was lit. I was ready to take control. Left with few options, I turned to the internet for answers. I was tired of feeling sluggish, frustrated by the brain fog that seemed to cloud my days, and desperate for a change that actually worked. My energy had faded, and I wanted to feel like myself again. So I sat down at my kitchen table, opened my laptop, and started searching for something, anything, that could help me reclaim my health. Hours of research led me to a video about the ketogenic diet, how it could help older adults regain energy and clarity. I watched as experts explained the science behind using fat for fuel instead of sugar, and how this shift could support not just weight loss, but also mental sharpness and stable moods. The more I listened, the more I wondered if this could be the answer I'd been searching for. A testimonial from a woman my age describing her transformation gave me hope. She spoke about waking up with more energy, feeling lighter on her feet, and even rediscovering her zest for life. Her story felt so familiar, her struggles mirrored my own, and her success made me believe that maybe, just maybe, I could do this too. It wasn't about a magic pill, but about changing my body's fuel. The idea was simple: swap out the carbs and sugars for healthy fats and proteins, and let my body do the rest. It sounded challenging but also empowering, like I could finally take charge of my own well-being, one meal at a time. I decided to try a 21-day keto experiment. 3 weeks felt like a commitment I could handle, not too long to feel overwhelming but long enough to see if real change was possible. I circled the start date on my calendar, feeling a mix of excitement and nerves. I spent a weekend learning what to eat: healthy fats, moderate protein, leafy greens, and what to avoid: sugar, bread, pasta. I read articles, watched recipe videos, and scribbled down meal ideas. I made a grocery list filled with foods I hadn't bought in years: avocados, salmon, nuts, and plenty of fresh vegetables. It was a crash course in nutrition, and I was determined to get it right. I cleared out my pantry, saying goodbye to old habits. Out went the crackers, the sugary cereals, the pasta, and the cookies. It was harder than I expected. Each item felt like letting go of a comfort, a routine. But I reminded myself that I was making space for something better. My fridge filled with eggs, avocados, salmon, and cheese. I stocked up on olive oil, leafy greens, and a rainbow of vegetables. For the first time in a long while, my kitchen felt like a place of possibility, not just habit. It was scary, but empowering. I was nervous about giving up foods I loved, but also excited to see what my body could do when I gave it the right fuel. I took a deep breath and told myself, I can do hard things. This wasn't just a diet, it was a declaration of independence from normal aging. I was tired of being told that feeling tired and achy was just part of getting older. I wanted to prove, to myself most of all, that I could feel vibrant again. I was ready to begin. 3 weeks felt manageable. I marked day 1 on my calendar, determined to see it through no matter what. I was taking control of my health. The journey started now. I was all in. For the first time in a long time, I felt hopeful about what the next 21 days could bring. Day 1, I made a breakfast of eggs, bacon, and avocado. Fat, I'd always been told to avoid. For the first time in years, I felt full and satisfied. No mid-morning sugar cravings. Lunch was a big salad with chicken and olive oil. Again, I stayed full for hours. The constant hunger was gone. I drank water, snacked on nuts, and felt steady energy all day. Day 2, I woke up less bloated and breezed through my walk. The lack of hunger was shocking. I felt like I'd escaped a prison I didn't know I was in. I thought keto would be easy. I was optimistic, excited, and ready for more. But I had no idea a real challenge was coming. The first days were a revelation. I was hopeful for the first time in years. On day 3 of my keto journey, I woke up feeling absolutely dreadful. My head was pounding, my muscles ached as if I'd run a marathon, and a wave of nausea hit me the moment I tried to sit up. Every part of my body felt heavy, and I was so exhausted that even the thought of getting out of bed seemed impossible. It was as if my energy had been completely drained overnight, leaving me with nothing but discomfort and fatigue. The mental clarity I'd hoped for had vanished, replaced by a thick, unrelenting fog. My thoughts were slow and jumbled, and I struggled to focus on even the simplest tasks. It felt like my brain was wrapped in cotton, and I couldn't shake the sense of confusion and frustration that came with it. In that moment, all I wanted was to quit. I craved the comfort of my old routine, warm toast and a soothing cup of tea. The temptation to give up and return to familiar habits was overwhelming, and I questioned whether this new way of eating was worth the struggle. But then, I paused and reminded myself why I started this journey in the first place. I thought about my health goals, my desire for more energy, and the promise I made to myself to see this experiment through. I reflected on the reasons that brought me here, and I knew I couldn't give up so easily. Desperate for answers, I grabbed my phone and started searching online. That's when I discovered something called the keto flu. It turns out what I was experiencing was a common phase. My body was adjusting to burning fat instead of carbs, and in the process, I was losing water and vital electrolytes. Suddenly it all made sense. The solution was surprisingly simple: hydrate and add salt. I learned that replenishing electrolytes could ease the symptoms, and that my body just needed a little extra support during this transition. So I forced myself to drink salty water and sipped on warm broth, even though it wasn't exactly appetizing. Each sip felt like a small act of determination, a reminder that I was taking control of my health, one step at a time. Within an hour, I started to feel a shift. The headache began to fade, and a spark of energy returned. It wasn't a miracle cure, but it was enough to give me hope and remind me that I could get through this. I wasn't fully recovered, but I was no longer stuck in that miserable state. I could breathe a little easier, and I felt a sense of accomplishment for not giving up when things got tough. That's when I realized this was just a hurdle, not a stop sign. Every journey has its challenges, and this was simply one I had to overcome to reach my goals. I learned to listen to my body, to pay attention to its signals, and to respond with care and patience. This experience taught me that setbacks are part of the process and that perseverance is key. Finding the right information made all the difference. With knowledge and support, I felt empowered to keep going. I realized I was stronger and more resilient than I ever imagined. That hardest day became my turning point. Instead of giving up, I found a new sense of determination. I was proud of myself for pushing through. I realized I was capable of more than I thought. The experiment wasn't over, it was just beginning, and I was ready to face whatever came next. After day 3, each day got better. The brain fog lifted, I could focus, remember, and engage again. My energy soared, the afternoon slump disappeared. I tackled projects I'd put off for years. Sleep improved, I woke up refreshed. The physical changes were undeniable. I tried on old jeans, they fit, even with room to spare. It wasn't just about weight, I was reclaiming my identity. I started enjoying keto, experimenting with new recipes. My mindset shifted from restriction to abundance. I was excited about what I could eat. This was becoming a lifestyle, not just an experiment. I felt alive again. By week 3, the changes were dramatic. My energy was boundless. I craved morning walks. Aches and pains faded, replaced by freedom of movement. Anxiety about my health was gone, replaced by confidence. I was more social, outgoing, and optimistic. I felt like myself again. I'd lost 15 pounds, my clothes were loose, my face thinner. Friends noticed the glow in my skin and the sparkle in my eyes. Looking in the mirror, I saw someone thriving. This wasn't the end, it was a new beginning. I'd proven I could change. I was grateful for the struggle that started it all. At my follow-up, I was a new person, confident and energetic. The nurse checked my blood pressure, perfect. The doctor was ready to prescribe medication, but I told him about my keto journey. He listened, skeptical, until he saw my lab results. Triglycerides down over 100 points, HDL up, blood glucose excellent. My blood pressure matched that of a healthy 40-year-old. He was astonished. Suddenly he was asking me questions, taking notes. I'd walked in seeking help. Now he was learning from me. He admitted he'd never seen results like this in someone my age. Leaving his office, I felt validated. I'd proven what was possible, without a single prescription. The numbers didn't lie. I had rewritten my story. My journey proved it's never too late to take control of your health. If you're over 50 and feeling stuck, there is hope. Hydrate. Water is your best friend, especially during the transition. Don't fear the keto flu. Be prepared with electrolytes and salt. The toughest days come before the biggest breakthroughs. Focus on what you can have. Avocados, olive oil, fresh fish, leafy greens. Discover the joy of real nourishing food. This isn't deprivation, it's an upgrade. Most importantly, believe in your power to change. Don't let anyone tell you decline is inevitable. Your body is capable of amazing things at any age. My 21-day experiment gave me back my health and my future. Your new beginning is just one decision away.